You know those moments when someone is just like really, really getting on your nerves? And the first thing you're thinking is, excuse me? No, you didn't. And you want to verbally reply to them and make sure that they know that you're defending yourself? Well, there's a verse in the Bible, which is my favorite Bible verse because it saved me from a lot of trouble throughout the years, is from Proverbs 15 verse 1. It says, "A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger." So you're probably thinking, that probably sounds like out of some like self-help book, but guess what? The Bible is a self-help book, and it can be used in any kind of situations that you can think of, whether it's work, talking to your friends, making sure you don't say stuff that will probably mess up your relationships or give you something to apologize for. It's in the Bible. And so when I read that the first time, and trust me, my instinct when someone insults me is to go hard, is to make sure that they know that I know what I know and that I'm gonna make sure they know it, if you know what I mean. And so I'm sure all of us, when some, for lack of a better word, idiot or someone who might be coming off as they think they know you more than you do, when people like that speak to you, it's easy to jump up and be defensive and say the meanest things, because when you're coming from a place of hurt, you will say mean things. And you can even throw the Bible at them and be like, don't you judge me? You don't know me. But all of that, what happens is that when someone is hurt or when someone is upset or when they are sure that whatever they're saying is right, they don't have time to listen to you. They don't want to listen to you. And so, depending on how we respond, it not only reflects on the image that we're trying to portray of whether we're a good Christian or whether we're a good person or whether we're a patient person. All of it reflects on how we reply to them. It doesn't matter how they treat us. It depends on how we react to whatever situation we're in. And so I feel like this verse is very important, and it can really change your life depending on how you use it in your life. Because when we respond to someone with a gentle word or even sometimes not responding at all, we help to diffuse the situation. So sometimes someone is like up here at a 10 and we're down here at a 2 and wondering like, what's going on here? Like, how did this escalate so quickly? And so when someone comes at you with all their emotions raging, they're probably looking for a fight. Maybe not a physical fight, but at least something verbal where they can make sure that you understand where they're coming from. And they're packed and ready to unload on you, whether it's their emotions or something that has been bothering them, or sometimes something that doesn't concern them at all. And so if you give in to what your heart's telling you to do, which is like snap, snap, and make sure that you can defend yourself, you won't win. Because half the time they're not even listening to you. Half the time it's not even about you. And then what happens is, because of your reaction, your testimony before the world as a Christian and as a calm person, as someone who's kind of level, will be tarnished just because of your reaction to someone who probably just don't get it at all. And so here's where reality can set in. In all likelihood, your gentle answer will probably make them angrier, because when someone is upset, they do not want you to calm the situation. They came looking for a fight and you're not fighting. Sounds weird, right? They should be happy there is no disagreement. But the problem is that their anger will escalate and they will not understand why you're trying to so-called take the higher road. It's like, what, are you better than me? They will get personal and attack your character if they haven't already, and still, you're required to take the high road. Treat them with respect. Easy? Nah, absolutely, positively, and completely no. You see, the wise thing to do is not always the easiest thing to do. The Christ-like thing to do, it's even harder sometimes. And when you feel your blood pressure rising and you feel the nerve to verbally attack and react to whatever situation is escalating in front of you, you need to just take a breath down and soften your tone, lower your volume. It doesn't matter how high they're going and hitting the roof. You take it down and maybe even ask them to talk to you when they're less emotional. Because, one, it will save you a character-crushing embarrassment of sinking to their level, and might actually demonstrate to them that this is how a Christ follower practices self-discipline and spiritual discipline of self-control. And it's kind of hard when you're in the situation and someone's really, really attacking you, especially when they're incorrect in whatever they're saying, to just sit back and be like, okay, you just keep on saying what you're saying, especially if you're from a culture like mine. I'm Jamaican. My first instinct is to make sure that you stay in line wherever you are and don't come and try to come at me any sort of way, because, you know. But at the same time, I separate that and I remember who I am as a person, and it's not always easy, and I don't always react like Miss Saint over there, but at the same time, a lot of times I find when I'm in a really high level tense intensity situation, I try to just stop for a minute, and it might look like I'm dazed and I'm not listening, but it's okay, because I'm praying or I'm counting to 10 or whatever I need to do to keep me down from a 10 to a 2. Because a lot of times we think, well, they're the ones who came at me and they're the one, this person said this and this person said that, but at the same time, how you react to is a direct reflection on you. They might have their character flaws, but at the same time, how you react to the situation says a lot about you as well. And so, I find that it really takes two people to have an argument. Sometimes I talk to myself, but I probably will not be having like a two-way conversation and attacking myself. Usually it takes two human beings, sometimes arguing about something that is neither of the other individual's business, but it takes two people to start a fight, two people to start an argument, and worse, it takes two people to continue an argument. So sometimes, even though it's hard, if we just take a moment, we can see that we must answer softly. It doesn't say that, like, you know what? A soft answer turneth away wrath, but when grievous words are said to me, I should reply and make sure that they stop that. It doesn't say that. It says a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. And it doesn't matter if you're a Christian, it doesn't matter what walk of life you're in. This applies. Why? Because any situation you are in, you probably will have conflict. It doesn't matter how you try to stay above the fray. There will be people, and there will be people not minding their own business, and there will be people who directly want to ensure that they are in everything in your life and saying exactly how they feel. But the worst thing you can do is give them the time of day. But at the same time, there's another side of it. The worst thing we can do, especially as Christians, is to pout and just not talk. It's like, okay, you can keep saying whatever you're saying, but I don't have time for you. I'm just gonna like stand here and make sure that you know that I'm ignoring you. Because sometimes that just makes them get very angry, and I think that would make anyone get very angry if you're ignoring them, especially when it's someone who is kind of seeking attention. But you can take a moment. You can take a moment and pray. And as I said, what I do is count to 10. And sometimes when I get to 10, I'm still at a 10. So I keep on counting, and I don't care how much time it takes, but I try to get down a couple notches before I reply. Because I found, just like if you're dealing with children, if you're dealing with in customer service, anything, any kind of dialogue that you're having, screaming never ever accomplishes anything. It just causes a fight. And sometimes in fights, after it, you feel very sorry and you want to apologize, and you might not have meant anything that you've said, but I found taking a moment to pray or count or do whatever it is to take you down a couple of notches, even if it's just remembering what you learned in Sunday school 20 years ago, it helps the situation, and it helps how you react to the situation. And you're not always going to get it perfect, and you're not always going to get it right, but angry words do bring angry words in return. The first thing you know is there are problems difficult to settle, and sometimes it's because everyone has said too much and everyone feels you're right. And the best way is to stay calm and talk quietly. And sometimes that is very hard, especially as I said earlier, when you want to defend yourself. But I think throughout this week, as you encounter any kind of conflict or any conversation that might not be going your way, and you want to make sure that you let them know that you're right, take a moment and remember my voice. You don't need to do that. You don't need to be down to that level. You, especially those Christians out there, make sure that you are portraying a Christ-like image. And that Christ-like image, you might be thinking, what? Like, I can't get it right all the time. I'm no saint. No one's asking you to be a saint. But when you try to be Christ-like, it means that you make a conscious effort. You make a decision to ensure that if someone's yelling, you know what, you say, brother, I understand. Or, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but here's my point of view. And who knows? Maybe they'll listen, maybe not. But at the same time, however you react is a direct reflection on you. And I know we all make New Year's resolutions and we give ourselves timelines, but something like this, you might not get it overnight, and it might just be a part of your character to ensure that you're heard. But if you create a habit of taking a moment to think before you speak, I feel like this verse is something that is not just gonna be there and be some distant thing that you can't attain, but it actually can be practiced, because it might not be easy, especially when you're faced with grievous people and unlovable people, but you can practice this by becoming that example yourself. And who knows, you might change a life or two. Either ways, you might have less conflict in your life. Have a good day, and let me know if there's any Bible verses that you want to discuss with me, either on Facebook or by commenting on the sections below. And don't forget to subscribe. There will be more videos coming, and hopefully we can discuss more from Proverbs, because it's one of my favorite books, and other topics as we go throughout the year. Have a good day and enjoy your life.